Peter, I know that you're really big into peer groups, and you know, I think when you are learning a new business, or you're very early on in that business, um, oftentimes there's very few people you have to ask, very few people that you can bounce ideas off of, and sometimes you feel like you're out in the world trying to slog this thing through all by yourself, right? Without that realization that there are, people out there just like you trying to solve the exact same problems that you are. And there's value in these peer groups. And I'd love to hear your perspective about, Dan Sullivan. And gosh, I know you've been involved in lots of peer groups, but I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
So, the strategic coach was the first one that I became a part of, and that was a group of, it was an entrepreneurial group. And, if there was an industry, you know, kind of vertical that they catered to was financial services. So there weren't a lot of other business people, but the principles were all the same. And, and I gravitated to that, and I got some really good peers who are still really good friends today. Um, but somewhere along the line, I needed something a little more. And right around 2000, 2001, I got introduced to an industry peer group. This was people that just did IT services. And around that time, this is, post Y2K, .com just happened. The industry was going through a major transformation. Superficially, it looks like the business model just changed, but there was a lot more to it than that. And the people that were in my peer group, we were all going through it at the same time together. And we would share. We would say, this is what our vision is, this is what our strategy is, and this is our plan, and this is how it turned out, and this is what's next. And we would share our successes, our failures, what we thought and what it ended up turning out to be. And it helped us all make more progress faster than we would have done on our own. And then finally, I had a local in Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh had an entrepreneurial school, and I went and became a part of that and got into their peer group. So I actually had three peer groups, which sounds like a lot, but they all did different things for me. And the time that I spent in them paid for themselves in spades. It got me out of the business, out of the fire, to be, clear my head, think strategically, talk to other people that could look me in the eye and tell me the truth. And it really, really worked out well.
So I'd love to hear your advice for somebody who's thinking about a peer group. Like, how would you find a peer group? What would you look for? Because I know there's a lot of them and some of them are better than others, but if I had no experience and I was trying to think about, joining one, what would I look for?
Well, first you have to sort of know what you're looking for. Um, you know, I believe that, there's two traits that are really useful in being a human on this planet. One is curiosity, and two is the initiative to follow up on that curiosity. And so, that kind of learning journey and getting yourself in a place where you can get with people that you can give and take and get on that learning journey together. It might be a general business one. There's lots of, YPOs and EPOs and WPOs, and there's all these organizations that are general business. There's industry ones. Every industry has them, and they're organized so that you have some geographic separation. There's no conflict of interest. There's benchmarking and share you know operations and financial benchmarks. But you have to know what you're looking for, and then get in with the right people that you're going to have chemistry with. It's all about giving and taking. Nobody wants somebody to come in the group and just take, 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 take. And they also don't want somebody to come in the group that's a know-it-all and just tell everybody what to do. So it's
Yeah.
if
It's a
if
relationship, right?
it's absolutely a relationship.